back to the GSTL. Right now, a bit of a controversial decision of StarTale to choose Life against this Protoss versus Zerg Master trap.
Yeah, if you look at the statistics for both players, then the decision to send Life out there is questionable at best. The other question on the other hand is, what's the alternative? Do you send out Avenge? Avenge is decent. He's I think his best matchup is definitely his Protoss versus Terran. In Protoss versus Protoss, he's good, but he's still not at 50%. And I feel that the StarTale coach might just have thought, well, YOLO, we're going for Life. He's the one who can actually take it, who's good enough to take down this opponent and go up against all odds. But who else could they play? Like, is it Hack? Do you play Pet? You go for someone like Salvation? I feel all these players didn't really make an impression just lately. So the only two players that we see on a regular basis are Avenge and Life.
Yeah.
And from those two, he might just have said, okay, there's no good pick here. And Life had the chance to actually saw the Protoss versus Zerg that was played against Curious by Trap. So maybe the coach just asked him, you know what, do you think you can beat this guy? Did you watch the game? And Life was totally confident and said like, yeah, I'm going to take that.
You know, right now I really feel like I'm missing Sound. If Sound were on the bench, if he were here, he might be the guy. But he's no longer with us, so...
we don't really know what's going on with Hack here, if he might have been a sound choice, but at this point I think there are no really good choices, but Life having to go up against Trap.
Like you said earlier, you know, whoever won that previous match makes that team likely to win this match just because of the momentum that it grants on the players that have already been defeated, and Bomber lost. So this puts StarTale in, like you said, a position where there's really no right answer. It's just trying to pick the best answer for the situation, at least the one that you think is the best answer.
Yeah, at this point they just have to hope that Life can perform on the same level that he did at DreamHack and maybe even go beyond this. Even though he just came back and might be a little bit tired. But if you think about the players that we have on the Soul bench, Deer is still waiting. We have Hiver just sitting there and waiting for his first game. So that's a lot of good players to beat, and Soul definitely has the much better position.
They have the upper hand here for sure.
Yeah.
You said Life might be tired. That's a really good point to consider, but he's young, he's used to traveling.
And he usually doesn't give it down.
And he usually does not seem effective. We've seen him play day of arrival several times and look brilliant, look fine. Yeah. So I think that fatigue is really not on the menu here. It's more so just, is he in the mindset, I want to play against one of the best Protoss vs. Zerg players in the world?
He kind of is always in this mindset. Oh, that's actually cute.
Yeah, that's kind of
that's a new one.
A pleasant way of reading Trap there.
That's a good way of hiding your face too.
Yeah, that's one of those ways to just say, you know what, I can be on camera a little bit.
I'm on camera and I'm still cute, so that was a good one. I like that. Yeah, but right now I feel the thing about Life is that he's always very confident. It's actually one of the things that Bomber made a little bit of fun of and said, like, I feel that Life is a bit overconfident in his abilities sometimes. But he's one of those guys who just has this winner's mentality, who goes into the booth and says, like, yeah, I'm going to take it. And even if he is coming from a losing streak, he will always have this confidence in his own ability. So he says, like, yes, I can do that. And he definitely can, but will he? That's the question. Trap is excellent in this matchup. We just saw it against Curious. And will Life find a way to deal with the Void Rays?
Well, you know, will we see Void Rays? Will Life try to go for an aggressive play before that can even happen?
We might see something completely different from Trap here.
Hyundai is a tough map for Zerg to play late game on. Will Trap see that coming and play super safe? I'm feeling very strongly Life is going to play an aggressive ability here. Maybe early Roach push, Roach Hydra push like we saw in Code S the other day. Something like that. I don't think he's going to try to play against that late-game Void Ray style like we saw Curious try and fail to do.
Yeah, is Life tired? Will he play at his best? That's exactly what StarTale needs right now. They need Life in tip-top shape, a player who can take down not only Trap, but maybe even the next player that Soul sends out. They're currently down in the team match 1-2. They need a win here. They desperately need it. If they lose here, they're down to the last player, and things are already looking quite grim with Dia and Hiva still sitting on the Soul bench. So let's see if he can actually take down Trap, if that match is going to end in StarTale's favor. Who's going to win it? We are going into the game here on Hyundai. Life versus Trap at the GSTL. StarTale versus Soul with Cullen Wolf.
Fresh from the core, right mind, fitting strong. You like iodine, with blueprint diffused, box that by my design.
Starting to the top right, we have the Zerg player just coming back from Dreamer Bucharest. It is for StarTale.
StarTale Life.
Life going up against a specialist in this matchup. Starting to the bottom left for Team Soul, we have
Soul Trap.
Trap, an excellent player, roughly an 80% win ratio against Zerg that he has in Heart of the Swarm, of course, always focusing on the offline matches. And he was already able to showcase this once today when he took out Curious. Life, on the other hand, he's not too shabby in this matchup himself. He has 33 games played and he has 73% win ratio. This, of course, also includes a lot of games against foreign players. He was just this weekend able to 2-0 opponents like Elfie and Huck, and lost to Stardust with an 0-2 on the other hand. Can he take down Trap? His team really needs him now.
Yeah. Really, really do. Consider StarTale and Soul are both 0-1 in the GSTL right now. And they're basically fighting for that third place spot. Of course, as the season goes longer, every match counts. A win here would be critical for both teams, but StarTale is the one who's down right now.
Hatch first.
And is it double hatch before pool?
It certainly could be, and it looks like that's exactly what we're going to see right now. The drone already moving over to the third base, and at this point in time, Trap already sees, well, there's no pool just yet, so he should know that there's a third base. The pool is so late that there's just no other way, there's nothing else. And even gas before that.
Yeah. He sees this with his probe, and he pulls out of his own gas, trap that is, to get a faster Nexus. I like what Life has done here, but he does leave himself a little bit vulnerable, and we'll see if Trap decides to punish him for it. This is not what I expected. I thought Life was going to be the aggressor. Two-player map. He picks the two-player map. Rush distance is not too far, and we're seeing the exact opposite.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, what can you actually do with the rush distance? You usually have a two-base play that's following an early pool against Protoss is always a little bit chancy. And in this scenario, I like the choice that we have. It goes a little bit against what we expected, as you already said. But it's still something where Life gambles a little bit. And Trap, of course, knows what's happening here. So it's all about how Life is going to go into the mid-game here. He needs the scouting information. He already has an overlord at the bottom left and saw everything that he needed to know. But he needs to have the perfect timings. If he over-drones just slightly, Trap will punish him.
Yeah. Core is done. He's got the Mothership Core on the way. I feel like we're going to see a Stargate drop down here almost instantly, so he can get those Void Rays out just like we saw before. Because otherwise he'd be making a Sentry right now, he'd have Warp Gate Research on the way. And Mothership Core done, and there's the Stargate exactly as predicted, right there.
Stargate coming in, and he knows that he doesn't need additional gateways, and he doesn't need the Warp Gates right now. That's one of the things that you know when you see that your opponent goes for that early third base, because he can't build any units. There won't be anything that he can throw against you, and just as a precaution, we see even more scouts on the map. So the gateways are a little bit delayed, but he gets an early Stargate, and he gets the early tech out there.
He needs to start Warp Gate research. That's one thing I'm starting to become concerned about. If he's going to continue to skip this. He's trying to get the Sentry out just to be safe. There's the Warp Gate research started. And I think he's going to go Void Ray first and go into that fast third base, just like we saw against Curious. But he could also try to go for Phoenixes. Definitely a possibility.
Life trying to go in there with two Zerglings for the scout, but immediately the added pylon to wall off completely. Harvester count, of course, now going to be really important. Life is going for speed at this point, but for us it's really important to just watch the Harvester count. Let's see what he's going to produce here. How high does he actually go? Does he go up to 60, or does he cut them a little bit earlier?
Right now, you know, ways away from that at 35. Phoenix is shown here. Starts a second one. Yeah, it looks like he's just going to be playing more standard PvZ, a little bit different than what we saw against Curious.
Yeah, with the Phoenixes alone, Life will always be able to get those Spore Crawlers in the game. That's not going to be an issue for him. He's still droning up, he still has this economy, but he needs to have the scouts on the map. He needs to make sure that there is no additional pylons sent in. He's trying to break through, actually, baiting out that force field, and there it is, and one of the links immediately squeezed in, doing a little bit more damage. He could have used that to scout, but I don't think that he really saw that.
Yeah, not able to get that information. Starts a lair.
Yeah, I like, by the way, what Trap did here, that he immediately put down another pylon just to be on the safe side because he realized that he doesn't have the energy on the Sentry. Cancels it again, so playing this super safe, waiting a little bit. Doesn't take any chances here.
Yeah, and it's worth it here, as you can see. And that lane gets cleaned up here. Had he had a few more lanes, though, at that exact moment when he didn't have enough energy to force field before the pylon was ready, he could have died as a result of it. So always got to be safe. And the Phoenixes are doing a decent amount of damage here. He's killed several units. He's controlled the map. He's controlled the Overlord flow.
But still, I like Life's position a lot here. As long as he doesn't lose too much against the incoming Phoenixes at this point, and he has already Spore Crawlers, he's going to be absolutely fine. The Queen still in a good position, always hugging the range of the Spore Crawler. A couple of Harvesters killed, yes, but at the same time, with the production from 3 hatcheries, he can make more than up for that, and has already a decent amount of units, and especially Harvesters in the game.
Yeah. Taking the 4th base is going to be a bit of a challenge, but he has that lair now. He's getting Burrow, he's getting Roach Speed. And with the Burrow, he's going to be able to defend any follow-up attacks really easily, which is not what we see. In fact, we see a Robotics on the way. Trap continuing to check for Overlords here. He wants to catch any strays.
Life is even gambling it a little bit. He doesn't have double Spore Crawler at either one of his bases. He's just relying on Queen and Spore Crawler, once again keeping the Queen close to the Spores. And that's exactly what he needs. A lot of Zerg player will actually go and just put down 2 Spore Crawlers just to be on the safe side.
Yeah, in fact, I would venture to say that most would in this situation. I've never seen this many Phoenix. So the Queen needs to be careful not to follow too far.
Oh, and bye-bye Queen.
Falling way too far there, getting away from the safety of that Spore Crawler.
That's the one Queen that he didn't see, where he didn't go for the whole position. And now the Phoenixes can actually move in and kill a couple of the units, but the Roaches are already on the way. And he knows that his opponent doesn't have too many Gateway units just yet, but the amount of sentries alone just helps him to defend his natural. The question is, can he defend the 3rd?
That is a good question here. Bay on the way for Trap. Getting an Immortal out just for safety. And the 3rd base is actually under attack here. I don't think he's going to be able to hold it. He just doesn't have quite enough units yet, and Life is already on the other side of the map.
Life is already going down onto the 3rd, and he's moving in as well, trying to snipe a couple of the sentries, and he's getting very close, trying to take them out. We already have Burrow being used, but there is an Observer, and that Observer gives his opponent a lot of options here. At the same time, the creep spread is decent, and just make sure that Life is at the bottom left a little bit faster.
Life accomplishes a lot with this, with the cancel, and he does try to trade down against those sentries. However, he had to spend a lot of larva to do this, and now he's only a few Harvesters ahead. His next wave puts him in a better spot, but I like the Hive choice here. I think we're going to see quick Vipers.
Yeah, I really like what Life is currently doing. I mean, all those Phoenixes are, of course, one of the things that Trap can utilize to take his opponent's Harvester count down. And he lost already a lot, but at the same time, with the 3-base economy this early in the game and the production that he has because of it, he's in a really good spot. He's going into the Hydralisks now as well. And if Trap, for 1 second, doesn't pay attention to the Phoenixes, he will lose every single one of them.
Yeah, he really does have to be careful about that. Ooh, drone gets spotted here. That was a close call. Doesn't want that 4th base started, especially in this position where he doesn't have a 3rd, and he's a little bit contained by his opponent's army. Here comes another attack. He doesn't have any of the Hydras with his army just yet. The first ones are on the way. Range is on the way as well. But this one certainly is making all the difference in the world, because if that Nexus has started, totally different story here.
Snipes the probe and now forces his opponent to move another probe in there. And we already have the position of the Phoenixes spotted, so he could move in with his Hydralisk as soon as they pop. Even uses the Contaminate now against his opponent's Colossi production.
Yeah, just using everything he can to limit his opponent's tech while he takes that 4th base, as he wants to take the 4th base. Some great Colossus shots here, though, and he needs to get out of there. Life cannot eat any more damage from this. A few Vipers.
Vipers coming into play, and let's see if he has the energy and time to use them. Well, there's no attack coming in, so he has a little bit more time. The Colossi, on the other hand, making its way towards the 3rd base, but suddenly Lings are in. The force field is too late.
Good for the Roaches, but like you said, way too late for the Lings. Overcharge has to be used here with the Mothership Core. Is he going to turn around? It doesn't look like it. He's actually going to use that one spawning Colossus. Needs to micro that perfectly back at home.
He needs to have the abducts now. He needs them. The drones are already getting in position. This is really clutching, so he can defend here. That's all that he needs. The Phoenix is trying to take down the few Vipers that he has, but all of the Phoenixes are already gone, and now the Vipers are a huge threat to the Poros army.
They really, really are. Another Colossus walking across the map here. This is razor thin, this timing that he's using here. He basically doesn't have much of a transition. He needs to kill Life right now. 3 Hallucinate Colossi are going to make those abducts a little bit harder. He has to be very careful which ones he grabs. Even if he has an Overseer, it's not going to be easy.
That's a really good move here by Trap. I love this. The hallucinations, we've seen this over and over again, but in this situation, it's really what he needs.
He's getting that Overseer, but it's it's way too late. The Army's going to come in. He's going to have to guess. Does he guess correctly? He gets 50%
Lightning
correct.
Cloud, on the other hand, really good positioned.
Yeah, good position there, and he's trying to escape up the ramp. He just has way too much DPS. Life is trying to buy time for more roaches to come out. The Overseer is ready, so he's not going to get any more fake Colossi here.
And we don't have any Vipers anymore. Those two Colossi do a lot of damage against the Hydralisk in particular. And here comes the Army. Life is moving in. Trap with a really good position, on the other hand, is dishing out the damage. One of the Colossi already gone. The second one is too close.
It's so close here. He decides to take some of those shots out of the micro back. A few more Warpins of Stalkers.
The Colossus is down. Now he can still rely on the Immortal, of course, but still all those units that Life is currently getting into the game. Another round of Lava Inject just popped a second ago. He can immediately turn those into units, and I think Life has done it.
I think he's done it as well. There's way too much Hydra DPS here. This Army is going down, and it looks like Life is going to take out the Zerg Killer here.
He's going for it. Curious is happy, and so is the StarTale coach. Live with another round of reinforcements, putting the Roaches to work, and all those Hydralisks with the extra DPS, making it a solid defense for the Zerg player, and he's able now to push his way down to the bottom left of the map. Live in an excellent position to take this game.
Yeah, I mean, what can Trap do here except type GG? That's his last option. He can't take a third, doesn't even have a wall anymore, doesn't have a single Colossus. That Warp Prism is going to come out to die, and it looks like Life just wants to end the game. Not even an Observer nearby. Doesn't have an Observer. He can't even deal with the Burrowed Roaches.
There's nothing here, but you can really see the Army supply alone already in Life's favor. He's dancing the Hydras.
And this is game over. Force Field drop looks kind of silly. Going for the macro hatch, or rather the forward hatchery, I should say.
Yeah, he's going for the mana hatch here, and the Roaches, they are just making their way into the natural. There is no third. Life is on 3 bases still, didn't take a fourth just yet. And Trap, he's trying desperately to hold on.
Yeah. And I think it's just about pride at this point. There's no way he can win this game. He knows it. The Viper can abduct the Mothership Core. I mean, start using Consume on these Manor Hatches.
Could also just blinding cloud the ramp, but it doesn't come to it. GG, and game over. Life brings it to a 2-2.
Nicely done. Very good play by Life. And he is saying no to all the people who weren't sure about him coming out here for the Zerg vs Protoss.
Yeah, we said that there was basically like no good choice for the StarTale team, and Life was just the choice that they made. They said he had the best experience, and even though it's the best matchup for his opponent, Life can make it, and he did. Really well done by him.
And now things have turned a little bit. The tide has changed. And I wonder what Soul is going to do here against Life.
You know, Hiva defeated Life in the Challenger League in the 3rd round last season. So we could see Hiva. On the other hand, I have to say that Hiva in those games... I mean, let's just be brutally honest here. Hiva got really lucky. Life had excellent builds against Hiva. So Hiva won it, but I would not send out Hiva here. He won the last best of 3 that they played. But the builds that Life had were so excellent, and especially like one particular match, he only lost because he made one right click on 2 rocks and attacked rocks for a second instead of the Army. So I would feel... I don't know if I would feel very confident to use Hiva in this particular scenario.
I'd rather save him.
He really can do it, but I feel his strengths lie on other areas.
Yeah, I'd rather save Hiva for last and maybe use him against either Hack or Revenge. If
Dia has a really good win ratio against Protoss as well. It's not as high up as Traps, but Dia is still at roughly 70%, which is really solid. So I would probably, even though Life just won a match against Protoss, I would send out Dia. He has the map choice now, so I feel that Dia would be a really good pick.
Yunsu is the map, so I could see Hiva on Yunsu. I mean, we talked about we probably won't see Hiva, but this is a map where I look at and I say, this feels Hiva-y. He can do an early pull, or he can do an aggressive push and try to attack here. Something I might see.
He won against Life. We casted the games, and Life, with the builds that he used, Life looked always like the player that was more solid, that had an answer, that had actually like a plan going into it. Hiva was pulling a Hiva, going from all in to all in to all in, and at some point one of them worked. So I don't think that Life would take any chances against him anymore, and Life would probably be out for revenge. So I just don't see Hiva. It's a possible pick, but I would like to see Dia.
Well, let's find out which one it's going to be.
I mean, it's
And
really
Deer.
it's really tricky, and the problem is that with Haiva you have a player that you can send in as the last player, and he worked so well the last time for his team, so that really worked for him. But right now, Life has to face the second problems.
Yonsu, a 2-player map with a lot of short rush distance possibilities for attacks, but since Deer picked the map, it looks like he just wants to play it to the mid game. In my opinion, I feel like this is another one of those maps that's a little bit tougher for Zerg in the mid game. We saw Hyundai before, and Life just controlled it so well. He took the words out of my mouth and threw them away in the trash can.
I mean, I feel it's great that we have Life now in this position, because if you just looked, like we talked a little bit about the statistics, Life with a really good matchup against Protoss as well, but just his recent match history in the GSTL was not all too promising, and people were talking about him being a bit in a slump. He performed well at Dreamer Bucharest, but in Korea itself, we didn't see a lot of amazing performance out of him in the team league. And he has to be a little bit tired coming from an international flight. But the last game against Trap was really exactly what you would expect, the old Life back to business, with a double hatch before he goes into pool, playing a risk there, but making good choices, defending against Trap. And that's what StarTale needed. That's really what they needed.
HOT6, HOT GSTL. Yeah.
I like the nod.
That was a cool sign. I used to have a yellow notepad just like that, memo pad. Why are those memo pads yellow? I always wondered. Instead of white like most paper.
It's a little bit like easy on the eyes compared to white.
Okay. All right. That's a fair guess.
I mean, it's not like I know.
I mean, most memo pads that you have on your phone, for example, also use the yellow paper.
Yeah.
It's just I guess it's just how memo pads have been.
It's probably the case.
I usually keep memos on Notepad on my computer with white, but I guess I could get a hack to make it yellow.
Pro. Well, we're going into the game, guys. Yonsu is the map. We have a 2-2 in the team match between StarTale and Seoul. Dia up against Life now. The GSTL with Colin Wolf.
Full force when I step to the fore, bringing you that fuel source fresh from the core. Right mind thinking